The movie opens on a dark, silent night. Sister Mary is alone, deep in prayer. After finishing, she quietly slips out of the chapel and makes her way to the Mother Superior's room. There, she steals a set of keys, revealing her desperate intent to escape the convent. She cautiously begins to unlock the main gate, hoping to slip away unnoticed. But just then, out of the shadows, several mysterious figures start approaching. Panicked, Sister Mary tries to open the door and flee. But before she can escape, a hooded stranger grabs her by the leg and with terrifying force, snaps it. She screams in agony before collapsing into unconsciousness. When she awakens, she finds herself inside a coffin, buried alive. She cries out for help, her voice echoing in the dark emptiness. But no one comes. And there, in that cold, suffocating box, her story ends. From here, the narrative shifts to a young woman named Cecilia. She arrives from America to join this same remote convent in Italy. The ticket she carries wasn't purchased. It was sent to her by a priest of the convent, meaning she didn't choose this place on her own. She was invited. It was Father Sal Tedeschi who had called her here. After the care home where she worked in the U.S. was shut down, Cecilia saw this new path, a life devoted to faith, as her next chapter. As Cecilia steps through the convent's front gate, the audience can't help but feel a chill. It's the very place where Sister Mary met her horrifying, mysterious end. Inside, she meets the Mother Superior, who welcomes her with a calm but formal tone. Sister Isabel is then asked to show Cecilia to her room. But Isabel's demeanor is sharp, almost cold. She warns Cecilia that she still has time to turn back, because once you take the vow, there's no return. God may forgive, she says, but the path ahead will not. But Cecilia is resolute, confident, and deeply committed. She chooses to stay. Her role? Caring for elderly and physically weak nuns. Here she befriends Sister Gwen. The two bond quickly over their similarities, forming a gentle friendship. That evening, Cecilia attends the chapel to take her first vow. There, she finally meets Father Sal Tedeschi in person, a kind, compassionate man who gently guides her through the sacred process. Later, during dinner, their conversation becomes more personal. Father Sal Tedeschi reveals that he was once a biologist before dedicating his life to God. Cecilia, in return, shares something haunting from her childhood. When she was just 12 years old, she fell into a freezing glacial lake. By the time she was pulled out, her heart had stopped. The doctors declared her dead. But after 7 long minutes, she miraculously came back to life. Since then, she's believed that God must have saved her for a reason. One night, Cecilia walks into the chapel and finds something chilling on the floor. A statue wearing a strange hooded mask with a blood-red face. She stands frozen when, suddenly, the Mother Superior appears. Without a word, she hands Cecilia a small, sharp nail, said to be a piece of the very nail used in Christ's crucifixion. The moment Cecilia touches it, her world goes dark. She loses consciousness. When she awakens, she finds herself inside a confessional booth. But something's wrong. She feels an unseen force gripping her. In the next moment, she's in a blood-red room, bound and surrounded by masked figures. She can't tell if it's a dream or a horrifying reality. In the following scenes, we see Cecilia trying to adjust to the strange rules and rituals of the convent. One night, as she sleeps, an old nun silently cuts off her hair. Cecilia jolts awake in fear and rushes back to bed. But she notices something disturbing. The woman had a cross-shaped scar on her foot. The next day, while bathing and chatting with Sister Gwen, Cecilia suddenly becomes nauseous and vomits. Concerned, she visits the convent's doctor, Dr. Gallo, for a medical examination. Soon after, the Mother Superior summons Cecilia to a private chamber. Inside are Father Sal Tedeschi, the Mother Superior, Cardinal Merola, and several other high-ranking members of the convent, all seated in heavy silence, their expressions dark and unreadable. Then comes the shocking revelation. Cecilia is pregnant. She is stunned. Everyone is. Because she insists she's never been with anyone, physically or emotionally. But instead of disbelief, the convent treats this as divine grace. A miracle. They begin to worship her as if she's the modern Virgin Mary. They believe she carries a sacred child, destined to become the next messenger of God. But Cecilia doesn't feel blessed. She's confused, terrified, and deeply conflicted. If this is truly a miracle, why does it feel like a curse? One day, as she throws up, a tooth falls from her mouth, a sign that something is very wrong, and not everyone at the convent is celebrating. Sister Isabel, who had been hostile towards Cecilia from the start, turns violently jealous. One day, she tries to drown Cecilia, screaming that she should have been chosen for the miracle. Cecilia nearly dies, but is saved at the last moment by a nurse. Thankfully, both she and the child survive, but the fear doesn't fade. Cecilia requests to be moved to a hospital, but Father Sal Tedeschi refuses. He claims the convent is the safest place for her, and personally promises to protect her. But then, tragedy strikes. Sister Isabel commits suicide by leaping from the convent rooftop. Officially, they say she lost her mind. But to those who believe in the supernatural, it's clear. Something far more sinister is happening within these walls. Cecilia begins to feel it too. Meanwhile, her closest friend, Sister Gwen, had long suspected that something was being hidden. One day, she shouts out in protest, accusing the convent of covering up the truth. For that, she's taken away. Later, Cecilia finds that a framed photo in her room has mysteriously fallen. On the back is a cryptic message. What was meant to be cursed, 11:14. The reference is biblical. When Cecilia looks it up, the meaning hits her hard. Even Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. Terrified but determined, she begins to dig. She finds her old medical records, including the one documenting her near-death experience as a child. This proves something chilling. The church already knew about her miracle survival. They had been watching her all along. Driven by suspicion, she breaks into a hidden room deep within the convent. There, she finds Gwen, alive but mutilated. Her tongue has been cut out, then enters the same elderly nun who had once cut Cecilia's hair in her sleep. She silently hands Cecilia a crucifix, made from human hair. It's at that moment Cecilia realizes she has to escape. Now. But the old woman just shakes her head. There's no going back, her eyes seem to say. The next day, blood is seen pouring from Cecilia's body. Everyone believes she's had a miscarriage. She's told she's being taken to the hospital. But it's all a lie. Cecilia had used chicken blood to fake it, buying time and space to escape. But as she rides in the car, Father Sal Tedeschi figures it out. She's captured and returned to the convent. There, they strap her to a chair. And finally, the truth is revealed. Father Sal Tedeschi is not just a priest. He's a scientist, specifically a genetic engineer. He confesses, when Jesus was crucified, the nails used in his execution left behind fragments. From one of these fragments, Sal Tedeschi extracted DNA, the holy bloodline. For the past 20 years, he's been using it in a secret experiment to engineer a new Jesus. The convent was never just a place of worship. It was a lab. He had tried this with many women, but every pregnancy ended in failure. Stillbirths, mutations, until now. Cecilia was the breakthrough. Her body had accepted the divine DNA. A child was growing inside her, a perfect child, the second coming. To mark her, Father Sal Tedeschi presses a searing hot crucifix into Cecilia's leg, the same symbol the old nun bore, the sign of previous victims in this unholy experiment. And now, Cecilia knows. She's not part of a miracle. She's trapped in a nightmare. After everything she's endured, Cecilia is now imprisoned, locked in a private room under tight supervision. But the scene quickly shifts. We now see her in a private medical clinic owned by Dr. Gallo. The Mother Superior is also present. Moments later, as Dr. Gallo leaves the room, Cecilia suddenly grabs a crucifix. With fury in her eyes, she lunges at the Mother Superior and kills her. Shaken but determined, Cecilia tries to escape. But just as she reaches the corridor, her water breaks. The pain is unbearable. She stumbles forward, only to come face to face with Cardinal Merola. And in that moment of desperation, she strangles him with her rosary. Another death. With no time to waste, she makes her way to Father Sal Tedeschi's hidden lab. Inside, she douses the area with ethanol, planning to burn it all down. Suddenly, Father Sal Tedeschi appears, burned, broken, but still standing. He tries to manipulate her again, tries to convince her of his twisted vision. But Cecilia is done listening. They fight. He attacks. She fights back. And in a final surge of strength, she locks him inside the lab and sets it on fire. But her journey isn't over yet. She ventures deeper into the convent, into the forbidden catacombs where no nun is ever allowed. There, in the darkness, she finds something horrifying. The corpse of Sister Gwen, left there, forgotten. Now, it's clear. Anyone who dared question the convent's secret agenda ended up here, dead. It's likely Sister Isabel met the same fate. As Cecilia desperately looks for a way out, a terrifying figure appears. Father Sal Tedeschi, burned, charred, but somehow still alive. They fight again. He tries to cut the baby from her womb, but Cecilia, in a final act of defiance, pulls out the very object that started it all. A holy nail fragment she had secretly picked up from the chapel floor while trying to escape. She stabs it deep into his neck. And this time, he dies. For good. Cecilia then escapes the catacombs. She walks through the convent one last time and crosses its final boundary. Free. But not really. Because then comes the film's most horrifying and emotional moment. Alone, broken, covered in blood and ash, Cecilia gives birth. We don't see the baby, but we hear it. And what we hear isn't human. It's a scream, animalistic, grotesque, unholy. And yet, Cecilia smiles, like she's proud, like it was all worth it. But the very next moment, her face changes. The smile fades. Fear creeps in. She picks up a large, jagged rock from the ground and slowly walks toward the crying newborn. And then, black screen. The final scene of Immaculate fades out. If you like this movie, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.